panel, and as a master of ceremonies, to give way to the different panelists, which we are very grateful to. Thank you for being here with us. But first things first, I will start by introducing our Secretary General from the Catalan government, Mr. Jordi Terrades, who will address us some words. Jordi Terrades, which is seated next to me, he's currently the Secretary General of the Department of Territory, Housing and Ecological Transition at the Catalan government of Catalonia. With a long-standing political career, he has served as member of the Catalan Parliament across multiple terms from 2001 to 2021, and held key municipal roles such as deputy mayor or president of a county council. Terrades has been involved in territorial and urban planning since his early days as a city councillor, and in his current position he promotes public policies focused on territorial planning, urban sustainability and ecological transition, with a strong emphasis on addressing climate change and enhancing the environmental resilience of Catalonia. So, without further ado, Mr. Terrades, you have the floor.
Good morning. Buenos días. Todo empieza en la cumbre de París, año 2015. Un acuerdo que alguien definió como un acuerdo histórico, pero que necesitaba de concreciones. El Parlamento de Cataluña aprueba, incluso antes que el Gobierno de España, en agosto de 2017, la primera ley de cambio climático en el Estado español. Eso sí, después de una dura negociación en el Parlamento. Fue una ley que se estuvo trabajando durante año y medio aproximadamente. Y en esta ley, en la que participó de asesora también, esto me gusta recordarlo, porque estuvo trabajando conmigo. Yo estaba en la oposición en aquel momento al gobierno de Cataluña actual, que había Teresa Ribera, actual comisaria, y que algunas de las cuestiones que se plantearon en la Ley de Cambio Climático de Cataluña del 2017 llevan el sello también de la actual comisaria europea Teresa Ribera. En concreto dos, los presupuestos de carbono y el comité de expertos independientes, que no siempre está de acuerdo con el gobierno. De hecho, el gobierno ha aprobado ahora estos presupuestos y la metodología que vamos a presentar hoy. Ha habido algunas diferencias con el comité de expertos porque la metodología de cálculo ha sido un poco diferente. El comité de expertos han hecho sus cálculos en base al concepto de justicia climática y el gobierno ha intentado aterrizar algunas de sus propuestas a la realidad económica, social del país y la capacidad, ¿no?, de los diversos sectores para reducir emisiones. La Ley de Cambio Climático preveía la necesidad de unos presupuestos de carbono y el Gobierno de Cataluña, si no me acuerdo mal, en julio, sí, la última sesión de gobierno antes de irnos de vacaciones de verano, aprobó una propuesta de presupuestos por sectores que ahora hay que debatirla en el Parlamento de Cataluña. Esta propuesta de presupuestos de carbono, que desde mi punto de vista, y que la ha trabajado mucho la directora general, es una propuesta ambiciosa porque propone reducir en los diversos sectores sobre los que tendrá incidencia alrededor de 162 millones de toneladas de carbono en este periodo hasta el año 2030. Hemos llegado hasta el año 2030 porque son los objetivos que la Unión Europea nos ha fijado. se está en discusión para ampliar los objetivos, pensando en el año 2035, 2040, pero como los objetivos de la Unión Europea están fijados en el 2030, nosotros hemos hecho los cálculos para este año. Los presupuestos de carbono fijan objetivos, no son normativos. Fijan objetivos, que luego quizá la directora general los desarrollará más extensamente en el sector de energía, en la industria, en el sector residencial, en la agricultura y la ganadería, en el transporte, en los servicios y en los residuos. Ya les digo que nosotros hay unos índices de reducción en cada uno de estos sectores. En Cataluña, y tengo la sensación de que también en otras regiones, en otros países, tenemos básicamente dos problemas con las emisiones en los sectores que les he definido: en el sector de la industria y en el sector del transporte. De hecho, en Cataluña, seguramente por la situación también geográfica en la que está y la concentración de las áreas metropolitanas donde están ubicadas en Cataluña, en la zona costera del país y prácticamente en la primera zona montañosa, litoral, prelitoral, estamos hablando de una franja de 30 kilómetros. Claro, es que aquí vivimos 5 millones de personas, prácticamente el 65-70% del país, y la actividad económica, las grandes infraestructuras están ubicadas en este espacio. Por lo tanto, el problema de emisiones del transporte es evidente. Les decía que los presupuestos de carbono que para cada uno de estos sectores fija los niveles de reducción para llegar a los objetivos del 2030 no son normativos. ¿Qué es lo que hay que hacer para conseguir el objetivo que nos hemos planteado? Pues que en paralelo se trabajen determinadas planes y determinadas leyes sectoriales que ayuden en algún caso imponiendo nuevos modelos de producción, en otros casos impidiendo el acceso del vehículo privado a determinadas zonas de las grandes ciudades de más de 50.000 habitantes del país, y con planes también de ayuda a la industria y de ayuda a los determinados sectores, con inversión pública o buscando la colaboración público-privada entre los presupuestos públicos y también la participación del sector privado, cómo no. Básicamente les decía en estos 2-3 sectores, porque no hay que olvidar el residencial. A pesar de que el residencial, la aportación es menor respecto en la actualidad en las emisiones respecto a los otros, sí que tenemos un problema de eficiencia de los edificios en el país, que son edificios, el 57% del parque construido es un parque anterior a la década de los años 70 y por tanto son edificios muy ineficientes desde el punto de vista energético. ¿Qué es lo que está haciendo el gobierno para implementar los objetivos que nos planteamos? Pues programas paralelos, en concreto en este caso con el sector de la automoción, en un plan ambicioso para la electrificación del parque automovilístico del país, inversiones en esto hasta el año 30 de alrededor de 1.500 millones de euros, e instalar en el conjunto del territorio, no solo en las áreas metropolitanas, sino en el conjunto del territorio, de más de 10.000 puntos de recarga de vehículos eléctricos. Una apuesta fundamental, básica, aquí sí con recursos públicos importantes, del transporte público, el ferroviario, de los buses interurbanos, con el concepto de cambiar la movilidad también de los buses con combustibles fósiles hacia buses electrificados, y creando infraestructuras también más eficientes e inteligentes. Aquí la apuesta del Gobierno en el techo de gasto que ha fijado hasta el año 2034 en este tipo de infraestructuras muy pensadas para facilitar el transporte público y no del vehículo privado, sin demonizar el vehículo privado, pero a favor del transporte público, es alrededor de 18.000 millones de euros en este territorio para ayudar a conseguir estos objetivos de que en el transporte haya una reducción de las toneladas que emitimos, ¿no? De hecho, en este momento el sector del transporte ya emite más gases de efecto invernadero que la industria, cosa que hace 5 o 10 años atrás era impensable, y por tanto este es un problema que hay que trabajar y que hay que atajar. Y para conseguir la electrificación del transporte privado y público desde un punto de vista el concepto que nos hemos planteado, hay que hacer un esfuerzo también en el sector energético. Es decir, hay que cambiar el modelo energético de producción de energía, que actualmente está muy pensado a favor de los combustibles fósiles, para electrificar a través de energías renovables el consumo exponencial que tendremos, ¿no? En el transporte, en el sector residencial, también en la industria, siendo conscientes que hay una parte de la industria que no podrá prescindir de los combustibles fósiles, pero el objetivo es llegar a esta reducción que la Unión Europea ha planteado respecto al 2005 de un 40% de las emisiones que estamos emitiendo en el conjunto de Europa, con la vista ya puesta en el horizonte 2050, que es intentar conseguir la neutralidad que la Unión Europea energética que la Unión Europea se ha fijado, que el Gobierno de Cataluña y que el Gobierno de España también tienen como en su frontispicio, ¿no? Nosotros hemos considerado que los presupuestos de carbono eran un instrumento para fijar objetivos claros, no solo para las administraciones, sino para el conjunto de la sociedad, de los sectores productivos, de los sectores sociales, haciendo una apuesta que queremos que para no caer luego en las frustraciones tiene que ser realista, ambicioso, pero realista. Y en cualquier caso, datos más concretos, la directora general creo que entrará, era para no pisarnos las dos intervenciones. Les he hablado que la ley de cambio climático catalán, nos fijamos en lo que había hecho el Reino Unido. El Reino Unido creó un comité de expertos también independientes que evalúa las políticas gubernamentales y que emite informes anuales a la Cámara de los Comunes. Por lo tanto, el Comité de Expertos de Cambio Climático de Cataluña tiene dos objetivos: hacer una primera propuesta también de presupuestos de carbono, que han servido para que el Gobierno haga una reflexión respecto a la primera propuesta que las propias oficinas gubernamentales y los diversos departamentos habían hecho. Hemos mejorado algunas de las... hemos sido un poco más ambiciosos en algunos de los objetivos que nos habíamos planteado respecto, oyendo al comité de expertos. Es verdad que no hemos incorporado todas sus posiciones, porque ellos planteaban una metodología, ya les digo, diferente, pensando en conceptos de justicia climática y fijando objetivos al 2035. Nosotros los hemos fijado al 2030, que es lo que ha fijado la Comisión Europea. Pero ¿cuál es el papel, ¿no? Aparte importante de la Comisión de Expertos? Que una vez estos presupuestos ya hayan sido aprobados y fijados los objetivos hasta el 2030 por el Parlamento de Cataluña en los próximos 2 meses, el Comité de Expertos y Directora General cada año va a evaluar las políticas que haga el gobierno de Cataluña respecto a los objetivos, y tendrá que hacer informes anuales que tendrán que ser debatidos en sede parlamentaria. Por lo tanto, es un organismo también de control de las políticas gubernamentales en este campo. Yo lo dejo aquí porque creo que me he pasado del tiempo.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay, let's move to the panel, but just before that, I would like to do some opening remarks very shortly, I hope, about what we have at stake here. According to the emissions gap report in 2023, global emissions reached a record of 57.1 gigatons of CO2. The limit global warming to 2 degrees Celsius emissions would need to be reduced in 41 gigatons of CO2 by 2030, which means a reduction of 28% of the current levels. To achieve the 1.5 degrees Celsius, the reduction should be around 42%. The world remains off track. I think we more or less could agree on that, and public policies sometimes are becoming inefficient. As we work toward the goal of climate neutrality by 2050, carbon budgets may offer a powerful framework to guide territorial and sectorial decisions. Carbon budgets encourage innovation and competitiveness in key sectors, support coherent planning across areas such as energy, transport, industry, agriculture, different kind of sectors, and promote transparency and shared responsibility, engaging municipalities, businesses, and citizens around climate limits. However, we all we are aware that implementing carbon budgets comes with some challenges, technical, involving methodologies, and some scientific uncertainties. Political, of course, resistance of distributing efforts across sectors and regions, like pointing the finger at some key actors. And social, the need for climate justice or just transition policies to ensure no one is left behind. According to the most recent available data, some countries have officially adopted carbon budgets as binding tools for climate planning. The Secretary was talking about UK, for instance. However, in the global arena, not many countries, no regions, have made significant progress in implementing carbon budgets. These are pioneering instruments which require somehow boldness and determination. In this context, we believe that regional, I don't know if you agree, I guess you are, regional and subnational governments play a crucial role in achieving climate goals. Their proximity to local realities allows them to design and implement context-sensitive policies, mobilize stakeholders, and pilot innovative approaches. Okay, as key actors in climate governance, they are uniquely positioned to translate carbon budgets into concrete action. Today's discussion will explore how regional carbon budgets, but as well other policies at the subnational level, can help us to the climate action. And in order to do so, we have an excellent panel here with three distinguished guests. The first one, let me introduce them very shortly. The first one is Sonsoles Letang. She's the current Director General for Environmental Quality and Climate Change at the Department of Territory of the Government of Catalonia. She holds degrees in agricultural engineering and forest engineering as well, and has extensive experience in sustainability, urban planning, and environmental management. She has been mayor, which is very important. You have to know what is happening on the ground and the difficulties and the challenges. And she was head of environmental affairs at the Catalan Land Institute. In her current role, She leads public policies related to environmental quality, climate change mitigation, and ecological transition. Thank you for being here with us. The second panelist that we have here is Paola. Paola Bauche?
Yes.
Bauche? Yes. Okay. She's a renowned biologist with a master's degree in geography from McGill University in Canada. Currently, she serves as the head of the Secretariat of Environment and Territorial Development for the state of Jalisco, Mexico. From her position, Paola promotes alliances between government, academia, civil society, and the private sector to address environmental challenges and work global climate and biodiversity objectives. She's an active figure in national and international forums on climate and sustainability, with relevant participation in events such as the COP29 and for sure the COP30. Paola has an outstanding experience in forest conservation, climate change, and payment for environmental services. Thank you for being here with us. And finally, our other panelist is Jean Lemire. Jean is a biologist by training. Jean Lemire is an environmental specialist and renowned science communicator. He was appointed Special Envoy for Climate Change, Nordic and Arctic Affairs by the Government of Québec in September 2017, if I'm correct, becoming the first envoy in the history of Québec diplomacy. In this capacity, he develops international partnerships and represents the Government of Québec at various multilateral conventions and forums, including the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the Convention of Biological Diversity, and the United Nations Environment Program's Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee and on Plastic Pollution. It's a quite big title. As part of his responsibilities, Jean acts as representative and spokesperson for subnational governments at the Convention of Biological Diversity. He's ambassador for the SAGA project on food security and climate change, president of the advisory board of the International Climate Cooperation Program, and coordinator of the Government of Quebec's International Environmental Team. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
And I must apologize on behalf of the New York City's Commissioner for International Affairs. She was supposed to be here, Ms. Siata Camara, but unfortunately she won't be here with us, so we have more time. I will ask you a couple of questions. You will have around 10, 12 minutes, if it's okay for you, so no rush. You can explain yourselves with some time. Once we reach the 10 minutes, probably I will do a sign for you, okay? So in order to help you to wrap up. And we will start with Sonsoles. Sonsoles, welcome. Thank you for being here. Sonsoles, I have a question for you. Catalonia, as we said before, is one of the first regions in the world to adopt binding sector-oriented carbon budgets. What was the main driver for adopting a regional carbon budget? And what governance mechanisms have you implemented to ensure the participation of economic, academic, and social sectors in its development?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, regarding the first question, the main driver for adopting regional carbon budgets. First, when, as the Secretary General has said before, when we were drafting our climate change law, the Parliament of Catalonia decided to include carbon budgets, but inspired by the British experience, because carbon budgets until then appeared as an innovative and effective planning mechanism to achieve climate neutrality. So this was the first question. And after the Catalan law on climate change include this compromise of the government of Catalonia on making carbon budgets for a specific sector, industry, energy, housing, livestock and agriculture, waste and services, every 5 years until achieving carbon neutrality. And in Europe, all state members, we have to arrive to carbon neutrality, as Secretary General has said, 2030. On 2030, we have to achieve our carbon neutrality. So our first carbon budget arrives for the next 5 years, but waiting to arrive to carbon neutrality 2030. So this is the first question. And for the second question, regarding governance mechanism to ensure participation. Okay, yes, first of all, the climate change law established an expert committee on climate change that has a role to make the first carbon budget, the initial carbon budget, and the government of Catalonia has to use the initial carbon budgets made by the expert committee on climate change to make our proposal of the government. So the expert committee is composed mainly of experts of the research and academic sector. So the participation of these fields is ensured having this expert committee on climate change. And in addition, both the expert committee on climate change and also the government of Catalonia, we have worked intensively with the most representative economic and social sectors, holding meetings, sharing information with the objectives to make the proposal of carbon budgets, one of the expert committee and the other of the government of Catalonia. So doing the meeting and sharing information, for us, it has been a way of giving participation to all the sectors of Catalonia. And moreover, the carbon budgets have been presented and debated within the Catalonia Climate Change Social Roundtable. That is an entity that the government of Catalonia had to create because the climate change law also has the obligation of creating this social roundtable because of the carbon budgets, because one of the obligations is to, before than approving a carbon budget, we have to discuss carbon budgets with all the sectors that are also in representation in this social roundtable. Okay, so another mechanism of participation. And finally, before the government approval, that was the last July, our Land and Ecological Transition Minister, Silvia Paneque, our Secretary General, Jordi Terrades, and I, we have been holding a number of meetings with industrial clusters, energy sector, farming, agricultural sector, social sectors. We have been holding a number of meetings with all of them because our intention was to explain the carbon reduction objectives and the measures and actions that we have proposed in our mitigation plan. In Catalonia, we have a Catalan mitigation plan, and inside this plan, we have chapters with several issues and subjects where we have all the measures and actions to arrive to achieve the objectives of the carbon budgets. And I want to add something because I would like to explain a little bit the main difficulties we have seen for the total achievements of the carbon budgets. As the Secretary General has said, um, we think that we're going to have difficulties, not only industrial and transport sector, also farming sector, livestock, because it's the primary sector. It's difficult that they arrive to reduce the carbon emissions in 5 years, because now they are more or less, they represent the 15% of our emissions in Catalonia. Emissions of methane are the most important, and the methane comes from intensive livestock, and it's a sector that it's not easy to change, and they need a lot of money, and they need to apply best available techniques, and we think that maybe we are going to have problems with this objective, and with the rest of objectives, transport maybe is the most expensive because we have to build a lot of infrastructures for electric vehicles and also train infrastructures. And industry, we have a meeting next week with them because now they are studying very intensively the proposal of carbon budgets and also the measures and the actions that we have in our mitigation plan, and they have a lot of doubts. But we have to say that they are very modern, and they have very good intentions with the reduction of carbon emissions. And for example, they are preparing a very important investment on liquid carbon emissions, and also putting the carbon emissions liquid inside storaging inside the earth, and maybe using for other uses for industry. So they are working a lot, and they are doing a lot of innovations, and we hope that industry arrives to the reduction that we want to achieve in industry.
Thank you, Sonsoles. So, some difficulties with different sectors. I guess it's a question of different questions. I guess sensibility, of course, and sensitivity of the sector, and budget. The transition is not cheap at all. Huh? Thank you, Sonsoles. Let's move to Jalisco in Mexico. Given that Jalisco has already estimated a carbon budget for the state in electricity, and set out mitigation pathways, what have been the most important lessons that you, so far, in translating those pathways into concrete policy? And secondly, or specifically, how are you dealing with the risk that current emissions trends may cause to the budget to be used by 2030, and what adjustments are you considering avoiding that outcome?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. Yes, well, in Jalisco we have emissions that come 30% from forest and primary activities in the field, 11% from waste, and 54% from energy. So when they work back in 2019, the carbon budget, it was focused on the electric sector. Mm-hmm. And it was paid by the GIZ and Iniciativa Climática Mexicana, and it was a very well done effort. One of the main results from that is that right now in Jalisco we have a Ministry of Sustainable Energy Transition. So instead of having an agency, such as in 2019, we have a ministry right now. So that's a good news, because there are a lot of investments coming to Jalisco, and we need to work with them in energy. So that was one of the main things, and we have also we have the climate change law in Jalisco, and we have a plan that we need to follow, that all the ministries have to follow. And in there, we're recording all the activities that the Ministry of, well, that all sectors in electricity are doing. But I have to say that we are not doing that well. I mean, we need to reinforce. Yeah, because many of the climate change policies stopped, well, not stopped, but went slower in the past couple of years. And that's one of the things that really worry me, because what I'm seeing is that mostly depends on the people instead of the institutions or states. It depends on the people that are interested or believe and want to work in climate change, that all these policies will go forward or will just stop. So when I arrived to the ministry, that it was 9 months ago, I didn't find like a clear path on climate change. And that's such a shame, because Jalisco was to be a leader in climate change for so many years. And so we need to really work harder on how this can remain, and it won't depend on the people that is taking the decisions, but that civil society, universities, and everybody will push enough so we won't forget all these policies that we're working in. So we have to work on the carbon budget for the rest of the sectors. We cannot only be focusing on electricity. We have a 30% of AFOLU, so we have to work on that. We're working with RED and all the mitigation that needs to be done in the 4 million hectares of forest that we have in Jalisco. And yes, and we also work lots in governance. We have a SIC, which is the Interministry Commission on Climate Change, where all the ministries, we got together 3 or 4 times in the year. But, well, my take on this is, how do we really put climate change on the top of the agenda of the rest of the ministers, not the environment minister that I here, and I will always be here, but here I need to be seated the energy and the agriculture and the economic minister as well. I think we're going to succeed when we have that, because the agenda that we can push through the environmental ministry, it's important, but it's limited. So we need to work with the other ones. So that's my reflection on this, and we have a lot of things that need to be done, and I really appreciate that you invite us to this forum, because there's a lot of things that we want to learn from you, and I'm sure Jalisco can do it, and we're just starting. We have 5 more years, so I'm sure we can do a lot of things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. In the first intervention of Sonsoles, we were talking about participation and difficulties, and now you raised the problem of governance as well, which is a very important one. No, first you have to convince your own government in order to put climate policies in the forefront of the public policies. No, yes, it's a cross-cutting issue that should be dealt by all the ministries, of course. Okay, thank you so much. And now Quebec. Quebec has a robust climate policies, including a cap and trade system on carbon pricing, which is very important. I don't know if after hearing today's experiences from Jalisco and Catalonia with carbon budgets, how do you see market-based approaches like Quebec's complementing or strengthening carbon budgets to deliver fair cross-sector emissions reductions? And what key parallels, differences or opportunities for collaboration do you see between these 2 different approaches?
Well, it's very interesting. There's similarities. It's funny because, to be honest, we have a committee of scientists, and they asked the government to go with the carbon budget for 2 years now. So, but it's very complicated for us because we have our system since 2013. California is, part of that cap and trade system as well, and Washington will be joining one day soon. So, but it's interesting because, well, I got so many things to say. First of all, our system was made with the Minister of Environment, of course, but with the Finance Minister, and that is sometimes the key. If they are part of the, the system right from the beginning, it changed everything. So that's something that keep that in mind, because they really think that they are the god of numbers. So if they are on your side right from the beginning, it will help a lot. One thing interesting, our cap and trade market cover 80% of all the pollution sources, all the companies. So that's interesting. The fact also that it's linked with California means that our reduction is not only on our territory. So it's another way of thinking, and it's going to be interesting with Washington also, because of course pollution have no border, but it's a different system in a way, because do you know how it works, as a carbon market? It's very, very complicated, but it's very simple also. Let's say that you want to be net zero in 2050, then you put, of course, the reduction that you need, and you will do the same thing with each company. If you have a company that, if you're doing, I don't know, transportation, you will calculate their GHG emission, and if they are a good student and they decide to invest in technology, well, if they are better than the curve that we impose to that company, then they will have credit, because they were good students. So they can sell those credit to the one who were not good students. So, and it's, I think, better than a tax, because a tax, everybody is paying the same thing. Now, if you're good, you have some reward. So that's this is how it works. So it's closer to carbon budget in a way, because if your objective is to be net zero in 2050, you will calculate, the same kind of targets in time. So this is very similar. One thing very, very important is it's the transparency, first thing, and it's followed by lots of rules and laws, and so because it's a market, so it's very, very important that you cannot play with goals and all that. No, it's a market, and it's so one thing very, very important also. We started that in 2013, and it bring us around $10 billion. So that's one big advantage, of course. Very often you will hear that, well, Quebec is a leader. Well, one of the reasons is because right now we touch around $1.1 billion per year just with the carbon market. So when you have that money, it's easy to be a good student, you know, to make good decisions. So yeah, that's. But this system is working really well. Right now, it's under a review with California, but California just it's now reconvened for until 2045. So you know there's lots of pressure, to be honest, in Canada, in Quebec, because in Canada they had a carbon tax before, and recently with the new Carney government, he decided to axe the tax. You know, so there's no more price on carbon in the rest of Canada. So it's only Quebec now. So the pressure is really, really strong on our government because, of course, the liter of fuel is more expensive in Quebec compared to Ontario, where there's only one little bridge between Quebec and Ontario, you know. So the pressure is very, very, very high. But this is where you have to do lots of education with your public, you know. Do we want to do our part for climate, or, you know, so, and we will see what Canada will decide to do. They will have to do something, of course, because Mark Carney was the appointed special advisor on climate finance for General Secretary Guterres. So he knows about climate. So he will probably bring some other things to compensate to replace the carbon tax. But right now the pressure is really, really strong on our government. One thing that we decided that the carbon market will stay, you know. So that's one thing, and I think that, you know, we could be really inspired by your initiative, because I think that, you know, the carbon budget is a good way to you know, to calculate and put your objectives and et cetera, et cetera. So congrats for that, and you know, continue to be you know, the leader.
Thank you so much, Jean. Well, it was quite clear, the explanation.
Yeah.
I like this reduction path
Yeah.
to achieve this goal, and how graphic it
Yes.
is, no?
Yeah.
The credit, and if you are a good student
Yeah.
or not, very, very easy to understand. We all have a past as a student, so we
Yes.
understand. I don't know if somebody on the table would like to react, because we have seen two different kinds of policies. This cap and trade, which are working quite well in Quebec, although it's not happening anymore in Canada. But we have and then we have the other one that we were discussing, the carbon budgets. I don't know if Sonsoles would like to add something, or maybe from Jalisco.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
This is a
Okay,
conversation. Feel free.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
problem.
Okay, yes, I want to clarify something because, as you know, in Europe we have the obligation of doing
Yeah.
carbon markets to specific industries, steel, chemistry, and very high with very high emissions. So the carbon budget acts for the sector that we say ETS sector.
Yeah.
And also to the diffuse sectors. The diffuse sectors are agriculture, housing, waste, and everything. And until the moment, because of Europe is reducing the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that this kind of industries, the ETS industries, can emit, the industries are making a big effort to reduce emissions, and they are doing the substitution of fossil fuels. They are capturing carbon from the air. They are doing the substitution of primary matters and they are using other matters that don't emit so much carbon.
Yeah.
Incredible. The other day, I held a meeting with a concrete industry, cement industry, and they told me that in 1 year they have done more innovation than during 100 years. And now they are very happy, they are very excited. It's nice to see. And I want to give you a recommendation, because for Catalonia it has been a very good guide for us to have a climate change law, because, for example, governance, into the climate change law, we have another entity, another group called the Commission, the Interdepartmental Commission on Climate Change, and is a table where all the departments of the compartment, energy, waste, economy, we talk about climate change. We decide the priorities on investment, because we have a finance tool that we are going to talk about tomorrow, a finance tool called Climate Fund, where we put money that comes from environmental taxes, and we have to decide in this commission the priorities for investing this money. So, as you can see in our climate change law, we have all the social roundtable, the commissions, the frequency of the meetings, the carbon budgets, the entities that are going to participate in carbon budgets, the new entities as expert committees. We have all. So now we are following our climate change law.
Yeah. Just in complement, the 1-point-something billion that we touch every year, with our law, that money has to go to fight against climate change. You cannot use it for, general budget of the government, or so it has to be. And there's a group in the ministry, they're dealing just with that, because of course they have $1 billion to spend. So everybody, wants to be friend with this guy. But yeah, they have to spend that money, for a fight against climate change.
Okay, Paola, do you want to?
Well, I'm just taking notes like crazy. And yes, and I understand that in Europe you have some mandatory, and in Quebec, well, you've been working in this for decades now, and that's the opportunity for us. I think that we have to learn from you. We cannot start from zero. So we can reduce the time that we're gonna implement this type of policies. So, yeah, no, I don't have anything more.
Okay,
to say.
thank you. We have like 5. Oops, the secretary wants to add something. So.
Yes.
Los presupuestos de carbono sirven para orientar, en nuestro punto de vista, para orientar las políticas. Porque a pesar de que la directora general de mi gobierno, que por cierto, cada vez que hay que discutir los presupuestos, dejamos de ser buenos amigos. Esto es una broma. Ella pone mucho énfasis en el fondo climático. Pero el fondo climático es una pequeña parte sirve para que los departamentos del gobierno intenten alinear políticas, los directores generales se peleen un poco entre ellos a ver quién consigue, no se lo cojan como un tema fundamental, las migajas del presupuesto. De hecho, las reuniones interdepartamentales sirven más allá de distribuirse este fondo climático para orientar las grandes partidas presupuestarias que no están en el fondo climático, están en el presupuesto del gobierno, y es allí donde, si se decide pues que uno de los problemas principales que tenemos es el problema del transporte, pues se focalizan las inversiones públicas y algunas restricciones a la movilidad privada en las grandes zonas metropolitanas, donde determinados vehículos muy antiguos allí los vehículos en Cataluña y en España tienen etiquetas, y hay algunos vehículos que ya no tienen ni etiqueta porque que son los más contaminantes. Estos, a partir de este verano, en determinadas zonas de las ciudades metropolitanas no pueden acceder. Y por tanto, todos estos instrumentos, la orientación de los presupuestos de carbono por sectores y las políticas sectoriales con leyes, estas sí que obligan. Y el presupuesto, que es la ley principal del gobierno, sí que orienta definitivamente dónde tienen que ir las inversiones. ¿Y a dónde van? Pues a políticas que van orientadas a la disminución de los gases de efecto invernadero y también a la adaptación a las consecuencias del cambio climático. Porque consecuencias hay y, por tanto, parte de las políticas también tienen que ir a la adaptación de este problema. Las infraestructuras mismo hay que hacerlas resilientes a los efectos del cambio climático. Nos estamos encontrando en los climas mediterráneos que cada vez llueve menos y tenemos problemas de sequeras importantes, y cuando llueve no sabe llover. Vamos, de hecho, 3 personas que estamos en esta mesa y algún otro acompañante, algún compañero técnico, el domingo no pudimos salir del aeropuerto de Barcelona porque en Cataluña llovió lo que no estaba escrito. Y además hubo determinadas autopistas que se tuvo que cortar el tráfico porque quedaron inundadas. Vamos, el lunes cuando vinimos para acá todavía seguían inundadas.
¿Ah, sí?
Sí. Y por tanto, claro, estas infraestructuras viarias, ferroviarias, bueno, algunos trenes también nos quedaron sin funcionar. Los presupuestos van orientados, ¿no?, en esta línea. Por tanto, las reuniones interdepartamentales, además de repartirse pues el pequeño fondo, bueno, importante, pero en comparación con el presupuesto general menor, sirven para orientar las políticas y para que el presidente del país y sus consejeros y consejeras puedan tomar decisiones estratégicas en todas estas materias que ayuden a mitigar y a adaptarnos. Y algunas, evidentemente, pues son más coercitivas que otras. Y aquí habrá también que empezar a trabajar en un nuevo concepto de concienciación de la ciudadanía. Esta mañana teníamos una reunión con California. Hablábamos de algunas cuestiones que luego, viniendo para acá, yo lo comentaba, ¿no?, que me preocupan. Es decir, estamos en una batalla cultural, nos guste o no nos guste, con los negacionistas. Y los negacionistas actúan muy bien en las redes sociales, en el TikTok, con mensajes breves, pero que dan en la diana. Y a veces los que no somos negacionistas y hacemos políticas porque sabemos que tenemos un problema, hacemos grandes discursos y no acabamos de dar en la diana exacta, y hay que empezar a trabajar también con eslóganes cortos que lleguen al corazón de la ciudadanía, porque si no, esta batalla cultural que los negacionistas están, hace años ya, que están emprendiendo, la van a ganar. Pero no seremos capaces de reducir las emisiones si no ganamos también al mismo tiempo esta batalla cultural. Lo tenía que decir.
Thank you, Secretary. carbon budgets are in fact a coherence framework, no, of policies. No? This probably is one of the main ideas that the secretary was talking about, no, and it has to be reinforced and developed by laws, plans, regulations, and so on, in order to fulfill the goals, no. Well, thank you. We have been talking about participations, governance, funding, of course, and coherence of policies, among other subjects. It has been a very interesting. I don't know if some of our friends here would like to react or have a question for the panelists. If not, I would like to close this panel with just one single question. Oh, yes? Okay. 2 questions. Good. Very, very good.
This might be a fundamental question, but I know that you're tackling kind of these big picture sectors, but is there any discussion around actual packaging? So food packaging, tertiary packaging, e-commerce packaging. There's a lot of chatter in North America on how that's going to be managed state by state. So I didn't know if that was a topic of conversation for your designated area.
Okay. Thank you for your question. And before the answers, we could have the other question too, and then we can wrap up and finish.
Sí, es preguntar qué están haciendo desde la Generalitat con respecto de los ayuntamientos, las diputaciones, el gobierno central. Yo sé que en cuestión política, como está ahora, está difícil, pero es necesario, es importante. Y también un poco lo que estabas diciendo tú al final, yo creo que es muy importante la relación con los colegios, con el sistema educativo, porque ahí es donde están los jóvenes de TikTok. Hay que llegar a ellos. Y hay medios. Yo he sido profesor de bachillerato. Los profesores no queremos sacar a los alumnos a la calle porque hay muchos problemas, pero yo creo que ustedes, por ejemplo, en educación, deberían ponerse de acuerdo porque es no es una broma. No estamos en
Ya contesto yo.
Okay, so 2 questions.
Sí,
One about packaging.
En Cataluña estamos ahora elaborando una nueva ley de residuos que sustituya a la actual, y además vamos también a proponer una nueva ley de envases y embalajes, que disminuya efectivamente pues todos los envoltorios que en este momento cuando vamos a las estanterías de los supermercados pues nos encontramos. De hecho, la Unión Europea ya ha prohibido algunos elementos, los vasos de plástico, las pajitas también de plástico, etcétera, etcétera. Vamos en este camino, pero nosotros vamos a hacer una ley de envases y embalajes. Y entrando en lo que decías, para mí es clarísimo, que yo a la gente de mi departamento, a los de comunicación, les digo que menos discursos, menos aquello y más concreción. Hay que entrar, es decir, nos guste o no nos guste, estamos en la era de las cosas rápidas, mensajes rápidos que al cabo de 24 horas o 12 horas ya no sirven, y por lo tanto creo que también nos tenemos que adecuar a estos nuevos lenguajes. Este domingo, mientras llevábamos 5 horas encerrados en un avión que no nos dejaban salir ni salir del avión ni salir para venir a Nueva York, al final nos sacaron y pude ver un partido de fútbol, pero es que soy muy de Barcelona, del Barça. Salía una encuesta en el periódico de más tirada de Cataluña, ¿no? Encuestas periódicas que hacen, que confirmaba lo que algunos ya manejábamos de datos demoscópicos, ¿no? En este momento en Cataluña, yo diría que en España y en Europa, y supongo que en Estados Unidos también, la franja de edad de electores y electoras entre 18 y 35 años, la primera opción no son, yo soy de un partido socialdemócrata, progresista, pues no, la opción no son partidos progresistas. Ya me conformaría que fuesen partidos conservadores, pero no, es que la opción primera de los jóvenes, sobre todo masculinos, es la ultraderecha. Y son negacionistas. Por tanto, aquí tenemos un problema. Y por tanto, hemos de ser capaces de abordar este problema y de empezar a hablar también el lenguaje de estas nuevas generaciones, porque si no vamos a perder el combate de la lucha contra el cambio climático. Las consecuencias para la humanidad van a ser terribles. En los climas mediterráneos esto ya lo vemos. En España, el año pasado tuvimos unas inundaciones que se llevaron por delante una parte del país valenciano con muchos muertos, y este verano, como pasó el año pasado en California, que estuvo ardiendo durante 2 meses, este año nos ha ardido el país durante 3 semanas y no había manera de controlar los incendios. Por lo tanto, los efectos del cambio climático están aquí y hay que saberlos explicar y defenderlos en las tribunas públicas y ser capaces que salas como esta estén llenas. O que estemos en las televisiones, estemos en las redes, porque si no, lo que se consiguió en París 2015 podemos ir retrocediendo.
Thank you. A final reaction, maybe from
California.
Quebec, or let's do something. Quebec and then Jalisco, if you
Okay.
like, and finally Sonsoles, and we will
Yes.
finish there. Thank you.
And maybe they have
Another question? Oh, okay.
I was just going to ask, and this is related to the social and political conversation that you're having. I think all of us in the room know that climate should not be political, but a lot of people think it is. And so it's important to tie economic benefit to climate action. And I'm just wondering if you could give an example of how your tools, like the Region Carbon Budget or the Cap and Trade program, are actively benefiting community members, whether it's financially or socially. But I think a lot of that, there's a lot of ways that you can connect that to tangible benefits for citizens. And I was just curious if that's something that's been integrated, and kind of explain an example.
Okay.
Yes, let's follow.
Okay. Well, first of all, on packaging, you probably know that there's lots of negotiation about the plastic pollution. So that's going to be, the very central to that problem. It's difficult. We had 6 or 7 meeting right now, and it's UN, so we had to have unanimous decision to have a treaty. So it's very difficult. Last August, we were not able to reach, a unanimous decision. So we will have another meeting probably in February somewhere in the world. Always traveling by plane to be sure that we emit more GHG emission. In Quebec, we already have our plastic and packaging policy that will be released. We wanted to release that in Geneva if we had a treaty. So now we're going to push that a little bit, but it's ready to go. And it was it's all integrate. Yeah, and it's and we did that with the industry to be sure that they are part of the solution as well, but of course with very strict measures. Education. Just for you to know, I spend my almost entire life doing education. I was on a sailboat in Arctic and Antarctica, and we were doing classroom by satellite. It was a big sailboat, 165 feet, and we were doing 7 video conference by satellite per day. I'm talking about 2002 to 2015. When we started, there were no, Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and all that, so it was very, very different. But you're right on one thing, in every government, it's very by silos, and very often education should be, around the table on all that. That's very, very, very important.
Yeah, thank you. Regarding packages, we're in Mexico. We're working on a general law for circular economy, as well as at the state level, and it is considered, although I think we have to strengthen. We have, between all the packages and all the plastics from the from the agriculture, protected agriculture, I think it's called, we have a big problem, and we would like to also learn from you, because we haven't really find out how to recycle that plastic. So we have the problem on water, on fertilizers, on plastics, and on the landscape. The landscape is transforming, and we don't know what to do to all this white plastic. Yeah, so yeah, that's what we're working.
Thank you, Paola. Sonsoles, and finally the secretary.
Okay. Yes, first, regarding the industry of plastics, as the Secretary General has said, we have a European directive. For example, the plastics of one use are going to be, have to disappear in 1-2 years. And in Catalonia, we are also doing our own law regarding this. But the most important thing is that our industries in Catalonia have to have like an accreditation or a level of European environmental, good way of doing the things. And the plastic industry, but the little industry of plastic, they are industry of manufacturing, so they are not ETS industry, so they don't have to participate in carbon trade. But we have another law in Europe that if an industry generates more than 20 million euros of benefits and also has more than 250 employees, they have to present every year not only the report on economics, they have also to present a report on environmental impact and social impact. That's why this kind of industries, they have to change their way of producing, because they have to report several things on environmental issues. And also in Catalonia, for example, we have the big industry of chemistry and also the big producers of plastics. This kind of industries, yes, they are ETS industries, so they have to pay a lot of money every year for carbon emissions. But we are having a very strong relation with them, because for us, they are very important. We have a lot of employees working there, and they are the suppliers of the rest of Europe of plastic, pellet plastic, and we are working together very closely. to introduce recycled plastic inside the pellets. We are following the plastic treaty.
Yep.
And
Together.
we are, yes.
We have a coalition together.
Yes, yes, yes. And we are trying that all industry of plastic in Catalonia, also the little one, the small one, the small companies, they have to have the accreditation that Treaty of Plastics talks about, and specific accreditation for doing things very well, also for not impacting to the environment. And so, finally, this kind of industries have a lot of work, and they have to do the things very, very well for the next 4-5 years. And regarding your question, for us the most important thing is that most of our measures and actions are also profitable. So, to promote energy efficiency is good for money, for economic sector, for housing, for industry, because they save money, they save energy, so are also profitable, and also to promote renewable energy are very good are profitable and very good for economic and private sector in general. And this is very important because in Europe we have another obligation. As you can see, European Union give us a lot of directives and guidelines, and now we have another because as the geopolitical situation is very strange for us, for European countries, we have to work a lot for self-sufficiency because we are not producers of all of the matters, raw materials that we need. For example, metals, rare elements for technology, and several things. To do efficiency for materials, and to recyclate and to reuse is very good for us because we need less raw materials of countries that are not European countries.
Well,
and the last thing, the young group, to have a young group, and we have been inspired by Québec, and our youngers have a very good relation with your youngers, is another good thing and good action. And I know that California, you have another young group, and we were talking before that it is very important to put together in contact all of them to fight against conspiracy. I don't know how to how to tell it.
Thank you. Finally, Secretary.
Quería contestar una cosa que ha dicho la compañera de Resilient Cities. Es verdad, el cambio climático no tendría que ser ni de derechas ni de izquierdas. Es un problema que nos afecta a todas y a todos. Pero desgraciadamente en la Unión Europea, yo hablo de la Unión Europea y no me voy a meter en otros berenjenales, la derecha más derecha, o que está más a la derecha de la derecha, ha hecho bandera y han arbolado esta bandera negacionista en contra de los partidos progresistas y en contra de la derecha conservadora tradicional. Y por lo tanto, no nos guste o no nos guste, lo han puesto en la agenda. Y por lo tanto, como lo han puesto en la agenda, yo creo que es nuestro deber, al margen de si uno es más progresista o menos progresista, pero es un demócrata tradicional, combatir estas posiciones, porque nos llevan al desastre. Y las consecuencias económicas del desastre, pues todos y todas lo sabemos, ¿no? Y por lo tanto, yo vuelvo a pedir este esfuerzo comunicativo. Yo creo que los empresarios y las empresarias y las industrias más inteligentes y más competitivas saben que trabajar a favor de la adaptación y la mitigación del cambio climático, va a favor de la competitividad también de los sectores económicos, ¿eh? Y es ahí donde tenemos que, desde mi punto de vista, tenemos que centrar las políticas. Y acabo agradeciendo a las personas del panel sus aportaciones a este debate.
So thank you very much. It has been a very lively and enriching debate. Thank you for your questions. No, I'm afraid.
Solamente un eslogan.
Okay.
Ante la barbaridad, más cultura.
Okay. Thank you so much. So thank you and see you around. Thank you very much.
Justo vamos a actualizar la lista, entonces serviría muchísimo si perdón.
Vale.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Nivel Pedro Sánchez.